It was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life. She made sacrifices for duty. Her dedication and devotion as sovereign never wavered through times of change.
My husband, he does it really. He can do all the voicing.
My mother was the Queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much. Not least of all because the monarchy is about continuity.
It's finally happening. After years of tension and conflict between Camilla and the other royals, it seems the Queen Consort has finally been removed from Buckingham Palace. This decision reportedly followed a disturbing revelation made by Princess Anne regarding Camilla's actions within the royal family. Although Anne hasn't openly expressed hostility toward Camilla, recent actions suggest that Princess Kate also has a low opinion of her, seemingly supporting the move to have Camilla evicted. But how did it come to this? And what roles are Princess Anne and Princess Kate playing in these events? Join us as we look into Princess Anne's shocking revelation, the brewing tension behind the palace doors. If there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's that the royal family isn't all tea and garden parties, at least not the way it's often shown in the movies. Instead, it's a world of carefully managed appearances, hidden tensions, and unspoken power struggles, where family loyalty is constantly tested against public duty, and a watchful and often unforgiving audience scrutinizes every move. This time, it seems that the princesses are at loggerheads, with the Queen Consort, Camilla, and Princess Anne being at the forefront of the whole dispute. Lately, she has stepped out to voice her views about the Queen, and she doesn't seem to be mincing words at all. Apparently, Anne believes that Camilla is unfit to rule the British monarchy as Queen. As such, she urges everyone not to refer to her as Queen. As a matter of fact, this view of hers emanates from the notion that Camilla and her brother were having an affair, right when Lady Diana was still alive. But then, could it be all that? From the history books, we have heard numerous scandal stories surrounding royals, such as King George IV's marriage to the Catholic widow Maria Fitzherbert, King Henry VIII's pursuit of a male heir, and how it led him to initiate the English Reformation, to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon and his marriage to Anne Boleyn, and many more. So it's safe to say that very few royals have a clean closet back at the palace. So how is it that Princess Anne's view of Camilla is different? We'd get to how that came to be, but let's get an overview of what the British royal family is like. You should know that while the royal family might have a polished image in the eyes of the public, they have a lot of dark truths and have long been a hotbed of tension and power struggles. The fact that they are able to maintain the stance, as though everything is completely fine amongst them, is what makes them a topic of interest for many. As a matter of fact, the whole drama with the British family didn't start in our time. It goes way back generations. From historic rivalries and scandalous affairs to whispered betrayals and silent feuds, the history books have seen it all. And now, we are faced with an episode that no one has ever seen coming. For an unprecedented turn of events, this covers King Charles, Camilla, the princes, the princesses, and basically the entire royal family. As such, their affairs have become something that's being scrutinized at all times by the public. From public appearances to the exchange of glances, each and every movement is being analyzed for signs of tension. This is exactly what has created a non-stop loop of speculation about alliances, personal grudges, and subtle power plays within the palace walls. As things are presently, the public is hungry for royal drama, and the royals are well aware of that. This is why they have maintained a graceful facade all these years, but do not be deceived. All is not as spotless as it appears to be in Buckingham Palace. If we are one to say, we'd say that the dent in the royal family only became proclaimed after the rise of Camilla as Charles's controversial companion to his Queen Consort. Apparently, this didn't just create a divided public opinion about the family, it brewed up resentment among family members. The very resentment that we intend to talk about in this video. Adding to the entire story are the former royals, Harry and Meghan. Let's just say their departure from royal duties has been the extra splint to the burning fire of the public's obsession. The fact that their recent interviews and statements always put the royals in a bad light doesn't really help in the royal family's attempts to put on a glamorous look. However, somehow, they have always managed to look the part regardless. Conflict is already believed to be a normal occurrence in the royal family, but this time, that which many have already deemed normal has turned out not to be a regular quarrel or disagreement that the royals tend to have. Instead, it's something way more intense and profound, something bound to reshape the entire system as we know it. At the epicenter of this conflict lies Princess Anne. Apparently, she has just made a shocking revelation about Camilla, pointing her out to be one of the threats to the royal system. This very revelation has made the monarchy reconsider Camilla's position in the system. Hence, they have come to a conclusion to kick her out of the royal family. In truth, it's a hell of an episode down at Buckingham Palace. At the moment, there are so many possible turnouts of events that even onlookers like us are finding it really hard to keep track. The only thing we are certain of at this point are the events that have led to now. It appears as though the events that have happened seem to have the same perspective, telling how many of the royal families might not necessarily like Camilla or respect her position as Queen Consort. Are you surprised? Well, you shouldn't be, especially owing to how she got there in the first place. What you should be surprised about is how the feud within Buckingham got so serious, as well as the hand that Princess Anne and Princess Kate have in the matter. From past accounts, it's safe to say that Princess Anne and Princess Kate are more peaceful and duty-conscious members of the royal family. While Anne tends to spend most of her time doing her royal duties, Kate is more or less the most stable presence in the family, and rarely engages in any controversy from the public. The only few times she makes an appearance is when there's a royal ceremony, or when she's out for charity work. So how did this duo come to have a hand in Camilla's welfare in Buckingham Palace? We are about to dissect all of that from a certain period in time. This is the part where things start to get interesting. You simply don't want to miss out. The clashing traditions and modern expectations. The British royal family holds several values dear, including duty and service, strict protocols, family unity, and privacy. Yet, above all, tradition stands as the most cherished of these values, and it's pretty easy to deduce why that is. You see, traditions are what we can refer to as the heart of the British monarchy, one which poses an unbroken link to centuries of history and heritage. By observing these traditions, it's almost safe to say that the royal family is at one with generations of kings and queens who have come before. This is what reinforces their stand as stewards of British identity. Now, imagine that this bond to the royal ancestry in the form of observing tradition is severed. Clearly, you can see how that could quickly cause chaos in Buckingham Palace. This is what the royal family is facing at the moment, and it seems like things have finally reached their tipping point. As a matter of fact, the rate of decadence of the royal family's tradition became known to the world during a certain event that occurred back in the past. It turns out that Kate failed to bow to Camilla during a meeting. What appeared to be intentional neglect caused quite a lot of stares and whispering amongst the royals, with many even giving the princess the cautionary stare. So how is it that a gesture as simple as a bow created such a commotion in an event? Well, it still boils down to tradition. You see, amongst royals, bowing or curtsying is a gesture of respect, but it isn't entirely restricted to just that. Aside from being a respectful gesture, it is also a ritual and duty that is being done to depict the hierarchy of the royals within the monarchy. In theory, what this basically means is that from the way royals bow to each other, you should be able to tell who is higher in the ranking of the royal system. As it stands, Camilla, the Queen Consort, ranks higher than Princess Kate, so it was expected that she would bow right when she met with Camilla, and then bow again after they had departed from each other. But that never happened. Instead, Kate simply nodded at the Queen Consort in a subtle way when she met. Quite true, in the eyes of many, this gesture can be easily overlooked, but that doesn't mean it is excusable. But then this is Princess Kate Middleton, and we are talking about it here. Being married to Prince William and having ascended the throne to become the Duchess of Cambridge and the Princess of Wales, she had the opportunity to learn about all the traditions of the British royal family. It could have been from public events, or even family gatherings. Anyway, there is. The royal tradition has always surrounded her. Yet, here she was, as she boldly looked the Queen Consort in the eye and disregarded one of the most crucial things, which was bowing. In truth, this sacrilege could only mean one thing to both the family and the public. Princess Kate does not approve of Camilla's position as Queen Consort. It's possible that the whole scenario would have played out differently if it had Lady Diana as Queen Consort. Wouldn't you agree? One thing we've come to realize is that most of the royals don't really like Camilla, especially with the way she succeeded to the throne. From time to time, not just the royals, but the citizens can't help but wonder, what if it was Lady Diana as Queen Consort? Things definitely might have turned out differently, and there would have been less tension in Buckingham Palace. When all things are considered, things might have even been different with the princes. Maybe Prince Harry wouldn't have left the palace, and the princes wouldn't have had so many conflicts all the time. So let's say that the princess had approached Camilla with this mindset. This could explain why she acted the way she did. Still, we are trying really hard not to make excuses for Princess Kate here. As things are, Princess Kate would most likely be the future Queen Consort once Prince William becomes king. So basically, she is posing as an exemplary figure for those after her line of succession. That being said, it wouldn't be fair to always put feelings first before making decisions pertaining to royal affairs. Instead, she is supposed to make sacrifices to ensure that there is absolute law and order within Buckingham Palace. While we are at it, talking about all that must have caused the neglect, let's not rule out the possibility that she might have just decided to disregard bowing altogether. Of course, as we know, the royal monarch system has been going through a kind of metamorphosis in recent years, with King Charles at the helm of it all. Their goal is to ensure that their way of operating somehow falls in line with the way things are in the 21st century. Due to these changes, we expect that the royal family will drop a couple of laws or ideologies and adopt newer ones that somehow ease into the current way of life. Still, while they are trying to do this, the aim is also to ensure that this transition doesn't in any way affect the major core values that define the British monarchy system. That said, it's possible that bowing is one of those traditions that are looking to be curbed out from the way of things. Looking at things on the outside, it turns out that the public has a different reaction to Kate's decision. Apparently, in an era where the royal family is expected to adapt to modern values, some find it refreshing when members of the royal family get to stand out and defy rigid protocols. For them, this rebellion goes ahead to show that indeed there are royals with individual thoughts, And they aren't all puppet heads who have been fed with centuries-old pages of traditions and values to follow. Basically, it is all about what they find relatable and which is the most outstanding in the royal family. On the other hand, it doesn't change the fact that there are a whole lot of strong believers in the royal system who value the formality and structure that gestures represent. To them, the act of curtsying isn't just about respect for one individual, but about upholding centuries-old traditions. As such, they believe that no royal should fancy themselves above these traditions that have lasted for a lifetime. Instead, as the influence within the family grows, everyone is expected to be more particular about their stance on protocols relating to the monarchy. Even with all that's expected from the princess, it's safe to say that the controversy surrounding her and Camilla is more than a question of etiquette, but a view of how the monarchy might evolve. As time goes on, the subtle transitioning will likely continue as the younger generation rises. How fast will that happen? Well, that depends on the rate and level of acceptance of the royal family. Talking about the royals who might be finding it hard to accept just about anything or anyone in Buckingham Palace, it turns out that Princess Anne has also shown a high level of displeasure towards Camilla. Apparently, this became known to the monarch and the public after she made a disturbing revelation about the Queen Consort. Although the initial intent of the revelation might have been to have the monarch call Camilla back to order, Princess Anne might not have necessarily seen the end result and repercussions to be an eviction. How did things get so glum for Camilla? And what was her offense in the eyes of Princess Anne? The royal drama only gets better from here. Just try not to miss out on the juicy details. Princess Anne's revelation and the repercussions for Camilla. When examining the relationships within Buckingham Palace, you can clearly admit that Camilla and Princess Anne aren't exactly the best of buddies. In fact, it's not just Camilla. Princess Anne's stern beliefs and no-nonsense attitude often make it difficult for her to form close bonds within the family. Her unwavering principles and commitment to duty have guided her throughout her royal career. And it's this dedication that has earned her a respected place in the family. Due to her approach, every member recognizes her contributions and accords her the respect she has rightfully earned over the years. But then the problem is that, while Anne's approach towards her duties has been commendable over the years, she has proven herself to be an extremist when it comes to the affairs of the monarch. That being said, Princess Anne is always determined to get rid of any obstacle that might pose a threat to the royal family. As it stands in the eyes of Anne, the threat that the royal family faces is the Queen Consort, Camilla. This view of hers became known to us right after the confrontation she had with Queen Camilla at the coronation dinner. From how heated the quarrel was, it became clear that Camilla's influence had long declined in the eyes of the royals. While it's quite uncertain how far back the tension that had filled halls had been brewing, we were able to see just how deep the fault lines within the family ran as Charles ascended the throne. But how did this happen? At the time Anne confronted Camilla, she was basically preparing to embrace her roles, and she barely voiced her concerns. So why exactly did she get confronted by Anne? Well, it's simply because of the clashing values between them. Both Anne and Camilla have their own belief of what the monarchy should stand for. For Anne, she has always been a guardian of tradition, one who never shies away from voicing her views when she feels royal values are compromised. You can even say it's easier for her to easily spot these compromises, being that she watched her mother, Queen Elizabeth, showcase these values throughout the 7 decades she reigned as queen. If we are to talk about the problem that Princess Anne has with Camilla, it is definitely about her past controversies and her path to becoming Queen Consort. Princess Anne believes that these attributes undermine the image that the monarchy has cultivated from years past. During the coronation dinner, Anne reportedly confronted Camilla, voicing her concerns about the message her elevated role sent to the public. As a matter of fact, it wasn't just Camilla's past that troubled Anne. It was the way she was relaxed in her approach to the role and her modern, sometimes casual attitude toward royal duties. Anne believed that Camilla's important role in the coronation proceedings would set a notion that, in her view, tarnished the monarchy's long-held principles. The coronation was sharp, but the whispers and tense air were even way sharper, while these two went at it. For a coronation that was supposed to be a moment of celebration and unity, it highlighted the discord that had been brewing beneath the surface. It was clear that Anne's disapproval wasn't simply a matter of tradition against modernity like Princess Kate. It was more personal, rooted in years of witnessing the impact of Camilla's relationship with Charles on their family. Anne believes that with her mother no more and her brother Charles now king, it is up to her to protect the values and prevent any erosion of standards her mother had set. And she isn't about to let anyone stop her, not even the new Queen Consort. While Anne is moving to keep things intact within Buckingham Palace, she is also being quite wary of Camilla's influence over Charles. Thanks to Anne's revelation, it has become apparent just how much influence she has through her husband, the king. As such, the idea is to ensure that the king's decisions, which are now self-serving, return to decisions that are in the interests of the monarchy. It's a serious affair going on in Buckingham Palace, and just to tell you how serious it is, Princess Anne has stood her ground and never referred to Camilla as queen, but as Queen Consort. She even imbibes the habit in others, preaching how Camilla can never fill the shoes of her mother and how she's unfit for the title of queen. It's pretty crazy, right? The fallout from the confrontation went far beyond the royal dinner table. As word of the exchange spread, the public and media seized on it, casting Anne as the defender of royal integrity, and Camilla as the disruptive influence challenging it. This very portrayal by the media seems to be what everyone has been using to judge the two. But one thing that the media has failed to notice is that the whole thing didn't just die down at the dinner table. As it stands, Queen Camilla's recent illness and withdrawal from key royal engagements may be interpreted by some,
while Queen Camilla has withdrawn from remembrance ceremonies as she recovers from a chest infection,
as more than just a health concern. Following tensions within the royal family, especially with Princess Anne, it's possible that her absence points to a strategic reshuffling in the monarchy. Think about it. Recently, Camilla has had to cancel appearances at significant events, such as the Field of Remembrance and a high-profile reception for British Olympic and Paralympic medalists. And all through this time, Buckingham Palace has always blamed her absence on a chest infection. While it might not be official yet, this retreat from public duties aligns with rumors that Princess Anne's confrontation might have finally been the last straw for the monarch to remove Camilla from power. At the end of the day, if this decision by the monarch proves to be true, it would be their own way to ensure that the values of the royal family are protected, and the legacy that Queen Elizabeth left behind remains undented. What do you think about Camilla leaving the royal family? Do you think the monarchy made the right choice? We'd love you to share your opinion in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channels. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.